Today, in surprisingly connected etymologies, we're taking a turn around the garden. When we learn to spell as kids, we learn about the pitfalls of homonyms, words which sound the same but are spelled differently and have separate meanings, like flower the bloom and flour that you use in baking. Funny thing is, these two are actually related. They both go back to blow, the extended O-grade form of the Proto-Indo-European root bel, to thrive, bloom, which itself probably comes from another Proto-Indo-European root, bel, meaning to blow, swell. Pi blow, which is also the source of the word bloom through the Germanic branch, came into Latin as flos, flower, the stem of which is flor, and this becomes fleur in Anglo-Norman French, coming into English as both flower O-U-R and flower O-W-E-R. The sense development for flour, as in baking, was through the finest part of the plant, and then the finest part of ground grain, to simply ground grain. Speaking of flowers, when they have thorns, if you're not careful, you can give yourself a bloody cut, almost as if by a blade. And it turns out those words also come from the Pi root bel, to thrive, bloom. The suffixed zero-grade form blateau became Proto-Germanic bladas, Old English blad, and eventually Modern English blade, which originally meant leaf in Old English, and wasn't used for referring to knives, swords, and so forth until the 14th century. Indeed, today we can still say blade of grass. The extended suffixed O-grade form blow-toe became Proto-Germanic blodam, Old English blowed, and eventually Modern English blood, from the sense of swell, gush, spurt. Do you think lilacs are a neat flower? Etymologically, you should. Neat comes through French from Latin nitidus, well-favored, elegant, trim, from the verb nitere, to shine, from the Proto-Indo-European root ne, to shine, to be excited. This root may also lead to Sanskrit nila, dark blue, which passed into Persian as nilak, bluish, and it's from a variant of this word, lilac, that English got lilac, after it passed through Arabic, Spanish, and French. What does a clan have to do with the plant? Etymology. Clan comes, unsurprisingly, from Gaelic, but Gaelic clan, originally meaning offspring, was borrowed from Latin planta, offshoot, which also comes directly into English as plant. And since Gaelic, and all members of the Goidelic branch of Celtic, didn't have a p sound, the initial consonant became k. But in Welsh, which is part of the Brittonic branch of Celtic, which did have a p sound, plant means children. Of course, in a garden, plants go into a bed, and that gives us a clue to that word's surprising connection to the word fossil. Both come from the same Pi root bed, meaning to dig, pierce. Fossil comes through Latin fodere, to dig, reflecting the idea that fossils are something dug up from the ground, while bed comes through Proto-Germanic badiam, meaning garden plot, and only by extension gain the sense of a bed you sleep in from the sense of a hollow dug out of the ground, like a den. Turning to a substance one might use to fertilize a garden bed, when is manure like an opera? When you're talking etymologically, of course. Opera literally means work, coming into English through Italian from Latin opera, the plural form of opus, work. The verb form of this word comes to be used in the phrase manu operari, which became Old French manoeuvrer, and English manure, with the shift in meaning from working the earth by hand to putting dung on the soil to dung used as fertilizer. Also from this Latin phrase is the word maneuver, shifting in sense from manipulate to planned movement of troops. And finally, have you ever been hosed down with rain when the skies have opened? A welcome event for most gardeners. Turns out this is etymologically appropriate. Hose originally referred to the article of clothing, only later gaining the water hose sense. As such, hose originally just meant a covering, coming ultimately from the Pi root skeu, to cover, conceal. That s at the beginning is called an s mobile, and sometimes disappears, and the K sound becomes an H sound in English because of a sound shift called Grimm's Law. This root also produced the word sky, which had the original sense of cloud, which covers, eventually transferring over to refer to the sky itself. Thanks for watching. This is one in a series of occasional short videos about connected etymologies. To see more, you can also follow The Endless Knot on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram.